In soccer, the most popular sport in the world, and in sports in general, there are a lot of inexplicable and quite curious things happen, which is why it is often said that miracles happen, or those coincidences that nobody can explain why they happen are considered curses. In the same way, over and over again. Within sports, in soccer there are many signs. We are exactly 1 year from Qatar 2022 World Cup. According to me, it could be a good idea to make a video talking about 14 of these soccer curses. Like this, let's get started without further ado. The world champion team is doing badly in the next World Cup. We were able to see this curse again last World Cup with Germany, since it was one of the favorites to win the World Cup again, but it was unexpectedly eliminated of groups. The same thing happened to France in 2002 World Cup, to Italy in 2010, and Spain in the 2014 World Cup. The only one that has been able to break that curse was Brazil in 2006, and now only we are left to wonder, will the same thing happen to France next year, or will it break the curse? The curse of the Golden Ball. This curse is a random footballer awarded the Golden Ball a year before a World Cup has managed to be crowned a champion in said competition. The list of those affected in this supposed curse: Alfredo Di Stefano, Omar Sibori, Eusebio, Johan Cruyff, Karl Heinz Rummenigge, Michel Platini, Roberto Baggio, Michael Owen, and Lionel Messi. The curse of the white shirt, Brazil. As I think you all know, Brazil plays with a yellow and blue shirt, never again with a white one. Hence it's considered that this shirt is cursed. With that shirt, they lost final against Uruguay in the 1950 World Cup in Brazil, which was played in Maracanã, and even is known as the Maracanazo. And for this reason, the white shirt of the Brazilian team were withdrawn. Benfica's curse. Benfica defeat in the Europa League final against Sevilla, who has their 8th European final loss in row, a losing streak that has been going since 1962, when the Lisbon team won the European Cup. After winning the top continental competition 2 years in a row, 1961 and 1962, the country's most successful Portuguese club has not won the continental title after that, without numerous opportunities to do so. All is attributed to Bela Goodman, the Hungarian coach who led the team to the 2 European titles achieved in the early 1960s, who, when he was fired after asking the club managers for a salary increase for his achievements, and that they fitly denied his. He pronounced it a prophecy that still lives on. Benfica will not be a European champion again without me. Until today, no team has managed to win the World Cup with a foreign coach. The curse of Aaron Ramsey. Juventus player from Wales named Aaron Ramsey carries the reputation as a killer of famous people. When he scored his first goal as a professional, the death of Osama bin Laden occurred. Then, after his second celebration, the death of Steve Jobs was announced. Later, for the Champions League, he scored against Olympique Marseille, and the next day, Muammar Gaddafi, the Libyan dictator, died. When he scored for the Premier League against Sunderland, Whitney Houston died, and the list got longer as he kept scoring. Yeah, it is pretty burned stuff already, but a pretty incredible coincidence follows. Before the 2014 World Cup, a rather strange cast began to go viral on social networks. That is, was an alleged cursed fan, since all the players who took the photo with him stayed out of the worldwide. This is a really strange coincidence. The curse of the Mexican Sepuleder. The best team in the regular tournament in Mexico usually fails in the league's playoffs that give the title, and the short tournaments were established in Mexico in the 90s. Only 3 teams have been able to overcome this curse and be crowned champions: Toluca in summer 1998, summer 1999, and summer 2000, Pachuca in the Clausura 2006, and Santos in Clausura 2012. This curse only happens in the Copa Libertadores, and it only happens to the Brazilian teams. If the year ends in 4 there will be no Brazilian champion. Sao Paulo in 2004, Lille in 84, Sao Paulo again in 94. They were not close to breaking this curse, since in the other decades the teams did not even reach the final. Touching the trophy before the final, it is said that touching the Champions League trophy brings bad luck. Some examples of this are when it was done by Ludovic Giuldi, whose team Monaco fell 3-0, Jose Mourinho Porto after touching the trophy. It also happened to Gennaro Gattuso, who touched the trophy before the final between AC Milan and Liverpool in Istanbul. The Red and Blacks reached the break 3-0 lead, but the English equalized the score until going to penalties. In the final round, English won, and several more examples. In the Democratic Republic of Congo in 1998, during an amateur soccer match between teams of Bena, Shandy and Basang, something quite strange happened. This match was under heavy rain and it was tied at 1 goal, and suddenly lightning struck the field on the stadium and killed the players of the local team, Bena Shandy, while the visiting players were unharmed. This event was a tribute of a curse. It is important to remember that in Africa the blame is usually attributed to much tragic events to curses. Curse of the fifth game, Mexico. Mexico belongs to the 5 countries in the world to have been a World Cup the most times, with 15 participations. But unlike Germany, Brazil, Italy and Argentina, Mexico has not been able to raise the World Cup, nor has been it close to achieving it, since the greatest achievement has been reaching the quarterfinals on 2 occasions when it hosted the World Cup. Despite the last World Cups, it has been managed to reach the 4th game, but they are always eliminated in the latter. So next year, Mexico will not be to lift the cup, but to break the curse and get to the famous 5th game. Spain has never been able to beat the local team in both continental and World Cup tournaments. Regardless of the team's hierarchy or the quality of the squad, Spain has not been able to beat the local since Italy 1934. There are a few institutions that resemble Torino misfortune. It is a team that signs to join Sporting because Sporting's success in the 1940s has only dedicated itself to living with misfortune, which is quite rare in this. In any case, the name Gigi Meroni is linked to all the tragedies in Turin. The pilot who flew the Turin plane in which collided with a basilica, causing the death of all the passengers, was called Gigi Meroni in the 60s. There was a player in Torino who was a good that he was considered one of the best players of that time, and who also called Gigi Meroni after a game with Sampdoria, which this player went out to have an ice cream with one of his teammates, but when crossing the street he was fatally run over. The person who was driving a car was a fan of Torino and a fan of Meroni, Antonio Romero. This man, after that happened, felt very guilty and swore by the name of Gigi Meroni returned to Torino, a place that he took years ago, which was the pinnacle of European football, which is why he was both president of Torino in the year 2000. However, he did everything very wrong. He defeated the team and will demote it in 2005, and very short time before 100th anniversary. And well, this is the end of today's video. If you like, I will really appreciate if you would support me by leaving your like and subscribing. In the description I will be leaving my Twitter account in case you like to follow me. And now, with nothing more to say, we'll be seeing each other until the next time. Bye.